My name is Cooper Shipman. I'm a racing driver from Austin, Texas. 2025 US F4 champion and also a high school senior with a 4.0 GPA. And my goal is to compete at the highest level of motorsport. This year I'll be training a little bit differently. I'll be working with Driven DynamiX on their DDX Prime to not only learn my visual reference points, but also to learn what each track feels like. When I first got on the DDX Prime, I was really blown away by just the amount of feedback I got, the active motion that really just simulated every single bump, every single crevice, and every undulation that really just helped me feel the track more and bring it closer to reality, which was a big help before going to my races.
Cooper secured the 2025 F4 championship after 9 consecutive wins. This was a record.
And sweeping the weekend, Cooper Shipman from Kiwi Motorsport.
And he wanted to do something special for the final round and elected to go with FR. That was stepping up to a higher series for the last race. It's a car with twice as much horsepower, more downforce, and he was racing on an unfamiliar track with competitors that were still racing vigorously for the championship. In order to compensate for a lack of seat time, Cooper trained on the DDX Prime extensively and really learned the track, the nuances of the car, and helped gain confidence to prepare him to race at the final race in Barber. There, he scored a podium and came in third in his debut race against those competitors.
We started this company out, the goal was to build the most immersive, realistic sim we possibly can. For professional driving simulation, every millisecond counts. We had to design every component in our system top to bottom, from the software, firmware, electronics, mechanics. We had to make them custom because we're trying to drive the latency down to, essentially zero if at all possible. I think right now we're at a class-leading 3 milliseconds, which is just unheard of in anything under, multi-million-dollar simulators.
I'm one step closer to achieving my dream. But let's go back to when I was a little boy whose parents allowed him to dream big.
Get set, go!
Everyone has that one moment they remember when they fell in love with racing. For me, it was when my dad took me to my first F1 race when I was just 5 years old. I didn't know at the time, but looking back, that's when everything changed. I didn't dream about fame or F1 back then. I just wanted to be faster than I was yesterday.
With Cooper, my dad said he came out of the room looking like Winston Churchill. He's always been serious, and the teams have always given great feedback about him being a great kid and personality.
I think as a mom, it goes against your natural instinct to watch your kid, race and then want to take even the next step. Every step up the ladder is faster and faster. And so just immediately it's like, oh, this is the sport that we're doing, okay?
What moments throughout the process have been like the most memorable for you?
Well, I think on the positive side, the way we got into this partially was I brought home a dirt bike for him, a motocross bike that was not age appropriate for him, but that's what I grew up doing with my dad, was just riding around on trails, not competing, but riding bikes. I wanted to share that with my son. He was terrified of it, so sold that bike and bought a go-kart because he saw me driving and said, I want to try that. And then it was a loud engine, and he's 4.5 at the time and doesn't want to do it and is tearing up, but he played F1 Race Stars. So I remember being in the church parking lot and saying, if you don't try this, you're not going to play F1 Race Stars for a month. And he looked at me and gave me a dirty look and smashed the gas. And that was one of the great memories, because just seeing him go slow and picking up the speed in that parking lot and having the natural ability to catch it from all the other little play cars that he had was so cool to see.
Just similar to that experience, the same timing, he was just moving up to a bigger cart, so what they would call a full-size cart. And you would say that the cart was driving him. It wasn't the other way around. And so to see the progression from, his neck just it's just so much neck strength to be able to hold those G's and the weight of the cart. I mean, they were putting so much weight on the cart because you had to make weight too. So he was so small relative to other drivers. So he had this huge heavy cart. He was small. He's trying to hold these lines, and going from that, it's a Houston, Texas, practicing, 300 laps a weekend. It's 100 degrees outside, and just watching his little body just, try to get through that, and then progressing within a very short amount of time to definitely having confidence in that. And he was driving it, and then he's driving to the front, right? So to watch that progression was just fun to watch. In hindsight, it's really a short period of time, but back then it was every day was a struggle.
I left public high school after my sophomore year, and I had to transition fully online. But even before that, I was kind of having to balance my school life and my racing life, and it was kind of taking away time from both. So obviously I was missing out on a lot of social time with friends, missing out on some homework time, which angered them a little bit. But it was really hard to balance. And so now, I've had to move into an online school, and obviously it sucks not seeing my friends from school and from town as often, but it gives me more time to focus on my craft and working on all the stuff that comes with racing, which is what you have to do to advance to the next level. So it's just kind of it comes with the territory, and you just got to make that decision and stick with it.
What would that message that you would have for like the next family who has a son like Cooper at 10, 12 years old decides, I want to be a race car driver? Like, what advice would you have for that next family, or for your younger selves?
I'll give my first answer, and you'll probably want to edit it, but it's interesting that you asked that question, because there's a lot of families that have come to me that said, my kid wants to get into racing, and I said, I'm more than willing to tell you about it, introduce you to people, but full disclosure, picking up a recreational drug habit and having a mistress may be a better financial decision than getting into auto racing. There is a wealth destroyer aspect of this, and you really have to be committed to it for you to get there, and you have to be a fan and really love it, because it's a horrible financial decision in the short run, for sure.
Our younger son, who's 14, he was always a tag along to these events, and other siblings of drivers would gather, and they found their own little community, and they're still friends.
Yeah, I think from a standpoint of little brother, when he's almost 4 years younger than Coop, 3.5 years, and it was easy for him to tag along in the beginning because he was a baby. And now, as he's grown up, thank goodness he's into traditional basketball, football. It's always an interesting negotiation when he wants expensive shoes, because he can compare it to a set of tires, and we lose that argument instantly.
So another interesting thing is, I was able to drive cars on the racetrack before they would let me do it on the road, because I was 14 at the time, and obviously you can't get a driver's license until you're 16. So I'd like to say that I'm more responsible on the road. I did get a speeding ticket within the first 48 hours of getting my driver's license, but since then I've been okay. I try not to. I leave my racing for the racetrack. So yeah, it's definitely a weird feeling. It's like almost kind of how you're saying you need to grow up at an accelerated rate. Well, I'm driving cars 2-3 years earlier than most kids my age, and then I get in, I'm like, once I get there, I'm like, oh, this is normal for me, it's natural. Like, I'm like, oh, I got this. So in some ways it benefits me in instances like that. But yeah, it's definitely, I don't know, I'd say it's made me a safer driver. I don't know if they agree with me, but
the interesting thing is, without speeding or driving dangerous, his concept of a gap to make a left turn, across traffic is very different than anybody else. So if there is 10 feet to spare, that's plenty of room for him to turn left. So I think that was an adjustment. And I remember one time I was riding down the highway, and a gas tanker truck pulled out right in front of us and stopped on a 2-lane highway. And I'm trying to sit there, be the cool dad, not panic. And Coop's looking in the mirror, and there was a truck that was giving him space. And we missed the tanker truck by this amount. And I'm about to die. I'm like, why didn't you? I'm like, you're allowed to brake on the highway and like fall in behind other cars. It's those types of things where he feels perfectly safe, and he's not.
Got a lot better at that.
Yeah,
Not talking about passengers.
he's not driving recklessly, so he's not speeding, but his concept of space on the road is just completely different than everybody else's.
So this January, I will have the opportunity to compete in the Castrol Toyota Formula Regional Oceania Trophy. This series has produced drivers like Landon Norris or Liam Lawson that have gone to F1, along with many other talents. This is a great opportunity for me to compete and test myself against some of the best young up-and-coming drivers in the world of formula racing. Throughout the racing season, I really only get about 30 days in the car, including race weekends, to actually drive on track. So anytime I can get on the sim here will give me a head start on my competition, because I can learn the track and the car at the same time before I even get into the paddock. Winning the championship this year was an incredible experience and an awesome achievement, but I come into this new year with a bit more of a target on my back and with a bunch of new challenges, new cars to learn, new tracks to learn. But luckily for me, I have a new tool that will be in my tool belt so I can increase the effectiveness of my training.